What you're about to see here in just a couple of minutes is a live stream, a live review of my thoughts on the Superman movie, the brand new movie by James Gunn that has had a lot of shade thrown at it, especially recently by even yours truly. And a lot of that was based off of a lot of assumptions and a lot of false directions given by the mainstream media, in particular the trade media. And when you look at them as they've come together as a composite, you start to recognize that we were probably misled going into this film, and those are my expectations. There are reasons for that, not just the terrible coverage by the trade publications, but also because I've had friends see this movie, and for some of them multiple times now. They have assured me that before I enter the theater, which will be happening after I record this video, I will exit with a wholly new thought about the film. I might even be a little bit excited. And while those expectations can be set by others, and I do tend to listen to the friends that I have that are critics who do this job just as I do fairly regularly, so I know what their opinions are going to be and where they'll fall along the line of whether or not things are good or bad. I've come to accept that a lot of my worst fears are probably not going to be realized in the film, but there's only one way to find out. And so I'm going to invite you to watch my live reaction today in just a few moments, as within less than 90 minutes of seeing this film, I will be joining you to give you my thoughts and to take your questions, and I'll try to do it with as few spoilers as possible. Are you ready? Let's go.
Fade in.
And of course, I'm kidding there. I will say this. This movie was not what I expected. It was something that many of you will be pleased with. And it's nice to go see a movie that you don't have to worry so much about the politics. Yeah, that's right. And that's probably the biggest takeaway that I'm going to say. I didn't detect any nor see any politics in this film. I saw James Gunn do what James Gunn does best, ensemble casts. That's not what this movie was, though. It was character focused in a kind of wonderful way. Beginning to end, a film has to tell you a good story, one that's enthralling, something that will keep you there, something that will entertain, something that will mystify, perhaps, or any of the other emotions you're kind of looking for it. When it comes to a superhero movie, I mean, they kind of turned into something rather formulaic, at least until Marvel broke the formula. And I think that's what Gunn has been talking about for quite some time. And I believe it probably was a slog and a struggle to get his third Guardians film out there, knowing full well that Disney was heck bent on tearing everything asunder and reinventing it in their own image with girl-centered stories around girl-centered heroes, leaving the men to just be the butt of the joke. And at no point in this movie did I feel like that happened. I think that a lot of things we were fed were red herrings, not because they aren't in the movie, but because of the context in which it was placed. It wasn't all going to align the way that it had been described. It wasn't going to align in the order it was shown. In fact, you see the beginning of the movie, basically. You've seen it already because it's so many clips that were released. Now, were they trying to tell you this story with those clips? Were they trying to hint at it, or were they trying to misdirect? I can tell you in the case of the press, there was a lot of misdirection. They intentionally tried to get you to have a political take in this film when that couldn't be farther from the truth. except for one line that Nathan Fillion says in the context of his character, and of course, ultimately changes his mind at the end of the film. The characters in here are purely characters that you should be familiar with if you're a hardcore comic book fan. Otherwise, these are going to be characters that will be wholly new to you and that you can actually learn something from and about during the course of the film. And I have a little bit of guilt right now. Not because I thought the worst of James Gunn, which I often do. In fact, most everybody in Hollywood I usually think the worst of. But because he didn't put any stuff in there that was all insinuated by others. And the fact that I reacted to Variety's reaction to an interview that was clearly laced with the opinion of the interviewer, who would later write it down and add little inferences and things like that that didn't belong there, taking the quotes out of context and everything else, especially when it got to Penske Media. I am now a firm and staunch believer, as is Andre and Tom and many others now have paid attention, including Valiant Renegade, coming to the realization that at no point do any of these trades want Warner Brothers to succeed. And they're even hurting Universal at the same time. Some of the coverage I've seen out of the trades of late has been just absolutely misleading in the worst possible way. You talk about misinformation. My goodness, Penske Media is the number one company for misinformation. Well, maybe third behind PMSNBC and CNN. But we can set that aside. Well, maybe fifth, because you have to throw AP in there. I'll have to think about that some more. But what I don't have to think about is my enjoyment of the film, because it's not a bad time. It isn't. It's exactly the kind of escapist movie you've been looking for, maybe with a little less budget, but in the context of the way this was presented and how I saw it, from the moment I understood the world that I was entering, because it's slightly different than Marvel, because it's a brand new look at DC, I started to settle in. Took a little bit. I had a little bit of a head jerk right at the beginning of the film, and so did the person that I went with. But yeah, I'm actually happy. I'm going to go through the film. I'm going to get to your comments in just a moment, but let me say it this way without any spoilers. David Cornsweet, pretty good Superman. Nobody's ever going to be Christopher Reeve. And certainly we really didn't get a real sense of what Henry Cavill could deliver. So I'm going to, let those two be what they are, unique and unto themselves. In fact, you could say that about the vast majority of Supermen, with their own take in their own time, playing a variation of a role at a different form or place in life. In this film, you enter into Superman's life at year 3, and they use a lot of fun story telling devices at the beginning of the film, and then they stop doing that. It was a cute way to introduce you to a Superman who's, lived as Superman and Clark for a little while. They break it down to you. But there isn't what Jurassic World suffers from. You do not get exposition dumped to pieces. They don't have to. It's show, don't tell. The natural dialogue comes out to explain what had happened before with nothing more than a sentence or two. They use the art of good storytelling and writing to give you some insight into something the audience doesn't know. And when they see it demonstrated instead of said, the audience gets that too. The audience are not as dumb as Hollywood makes them out to be, and that's one of the things that I can say is a positive about James Gunn. For those of you that are worried, I hope you don't hate this, but the odds are that you very much do. No, a Dylan. I will say, no. This in no way is a bad film. It just 100% is it. And we've got what the Fook out there saying, I would almost argue that Superman 2025 shows exactly why you don't skip year one. Man, and I'm going to highlight the comment. I don't know if that's actually true. Okay, so from the beginning of the movie, obviously it opens. You understand at what point in the life cycle of Superman you are. And then you start to get to know the world around him and what's happening and for what reasons. Obviously, Lex Luthor is nefarious. You have Guy Gardner being amazing. Nathan Fillion can do no wrong in this movie. He's just a brilliant Guy Gardner. In fact, he's now played two Lanterns, if memory serves. Mr. Terrific, he's terrific. He's absolutely terrific. And in spite of some of the things that other creators have said, I'm going to give a shout out to Hawk Girl. I'll also say that every single element had a payoff. You don't get that in films anymore. The romance between Lois and Clark is real. The scenes that we had were clearly taken out of context in the clips and even the preview. There's a distinct amount of passion between these two people, and kind of that they would do anything for each other. Superman teaches himself many lessons and learns from his mistakes. And yet the only thing that took me out of the movie was right at the beginning. And it's everything I told you that would. The extreme vulnerability with which they saddle this Superman with. But they're building something. Something unique, something fun. Something that will work as the basis for the new DC studios. And in that regard, and because it absolutely had to, it hit a home run. You're getting a version of the Justice League. I think it's maybe it's Justice League International or something. But you're getting something like that all the way down to the building, which you will recognize nearly immediately, especially if you're a big fan of the animation. Shout out to our new Lois Lane. And despite her terrible manner of dress, because, well, she kind of dresses like a tomboy, she's perfect. If you look at in fact, the whole news gathering organization of the Daily Planet, I think you will enjoy them as well. Because in the end, they kind of have their own parallel storyline running up against the last act of this film in particular. The places you're taken are fantastical, beyond Earth, as a matter of fact. And there's a lot of mystery there. If you were to ask James Gunn to make you a Superman movie, I would hope that this would be something that he would put together multiple times. Now, those are the praises. What are the downsides? Well, I already shared one. The weakness that Superman has in this version of his universe. I don't particularly enjoy that, but it didn't come without explanation, especially in one certain circumstance. And again, no spoilers in this part of the review, and we'll get some questions here in a moment. But overall, when you look at how well formed this world is and why things are happening, it's not just because of story or plot. It is a kind of one of the most logical steps in filmmaking I've seen in a long time. This step happened, this step happened, this step happened. It was all very logical, but it's not protected with anything else. There's no plot armor, and it's not because script said so. It's because, yeah, that's probably what you would have to do next. There are surprises. They're a lot of fun. And believe it or not, you're going to love the dog. I thought for sure that Crypto would be bad. No, he wasn't even a nuisance or a distraction. He had a role to play, and it was glorious. But again, The bad. I think they ran too many story elements simultaneously, but it created an opportunity for all of the side characters that were introduced to be utilized and to give you some kind of sense of who these people were going to be in the future. And that's what James Gunn's doing. He's building a future. Maybe not the future we want. Maybe Supergirl's not going to be your cup of tea. But the characterization of the Supergirl that you're introduced to, I think you'll like. And you don't get to see her for very long. So let's just set that there. I walked away from this movie with a pretty good grade. In fact, let's do the grade thing now because we're about 15 minutes in. Superman is a solid B+. It almost scored an A-. It's very close if you use a letter grade. This is a 7.5, maybe even an 8. Might be an 8 tomorrow when I wake up. That'd be reasonable. That's a pretty good score. Solid B. Maybe it'll creep up a little higher. And out of 5 stars, it's touching the clouds. It is pretty close to 4 full stars by my estimation. I didn't think, as I said, that I would find this film as entertaining as I did. And I wouldn't think that Gunn could reproduce Guardians in a character-focused movie. You're going to care about the Superman and Lois and everybody else that's there. Even Lex, to a certain degree, because Nicholas Hoult may have found the role of a lifetime for himself, at least one that will finally launch him to superstardom, because he's really good as Lex. All right, let's get to it. Grim says, hoping it's good. Well, you don't have to hope. In my opinion, if you trust it, if you've followed along with it, and if you agree, it's a pretty good movie. Puddin's Cat's like, you going to review that from the theater? Actually, that would have been even better, right? Just sit up in the booth and do it from up there. I don't know. The boys at Meat are slugging it out. Woof! You don't have to slug it out. It's not a bad movie. Let's see. Cynthia Carter says, my suspicion is it will be a solid B+. Hey, you were right. You and I have similar thought processes. Some solid parts but kind of mid. I think it's a little better than mid, to be fair. There were only a couple of moments where I was like, oh, wow, they could have done that better. There was only a couple of like different segments that had janky, CGI. The place they stick Superman is still one of the most fascinating places ever. I cannot wait for people to see that. Yeah, look, I'm going to tell you the truth. And thank you for these high compliments, Cynthia. I don't love or hate Gunn. He's had big winners and huge stinkers. I just was surprised. And it's been a while since I've been surprised at a movie. Godzilla -1, that surprised me. I'm trying to think of some others. This one is good. And here's a weird thing, right? Because we all know that Marvel, a Marvel expert, Marvin the Movie Monster, he didn't care for it. And you know what? I can see his point. Because for him, Superman's different than the way I have always seen Superman. And everything that they tried to do to take the politics and start swinging it around everywhere was nowhere to be found in the film. If it would have been equally as possible to say to have him say truth, justice, and the American way, or not say anything at all, and he didn't. He didn't have to. There wouldn't have been a circumstance or an opportunity created for him to do that. Interestingly enough, the only flag that's raised is one you've already seen in the trailers. It's the little boy with a flagpole that has the Superman emblem on it. So there's that. Tony Pacente, good evening to you. Thanks for being here. Thank you all for being here. The lovely Penny is out there. We got everybody here. Good to see you. Tom F is out there, but my pal, my buddy, my friend Eric K just dropped 5 Culture Casino memberships a few moments ago. Hopefully you had the opportunity to grab that. And Dr. Megatron is in the house as well. David says, I'm digging the hat. Thank you. Little RBZ for you. I love these. Very comfortable, especially on the golf course. RC's in the house. How you doing? Great to see you. Lovely Carl Singh is here. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And Ruby Hoove, who is just the most generous human being on the planet, gifting a Culture Casino membership seemingly every single day, sometimes twice a day, such as today. So there's that. El Skeletor. Heard it was trash. The movie was no story that makes sense. That's not true. Beginning to end, there's an entire story. If I were going to be doing spoilers right now, I would give you everything and outline it all. And yeah, I mean, believe it or not, I went there today with my friend Pop Culture Archivist. And I would say that we both enjoyed it. Again, it started off a little bit kind of janky, but only for the reason that this was a different version of a Superman universe than any we had seen before. And it was comfortable. It was like slipping on an old pair of tennis shoes that you like to kick around the house in. Believe it or not, it's really, for what it's worth, if after getting what we've gotten this year between Captain Anti-America and the Thunderdolts, yeah, this is a way better movie. Fat Elvis is out there. Great to see you, my friend. The lovely Daisy Blossom as well. Who else is out there in the world? Point out strengths and weaknesses of art direction, characters, story. Art direction was consistent. The visuals weren't nearly as messed up as they are in our small television screens, especially our phone screens or even my computer screen, despite how good it is. I will say that in person, watching this with my eyeballs, it was bright. Gone were the death appearance of DC that Snyder left behind. It was bright and shiny. Now, I talked about it being bright and shiny, and that was the aim, and it was. So there's that. So art direction, cinematography, color grading, timing, audio was pretty good. Not super thrilled, a little bit too poppy in places for me. But waiting in the background was always the classic Superman theme. So there's that. Let's see. What else we got here? Just got out of Superman. Saw it in IMAX. Wow, it was really great. See? And Mac in the house giving you top marks. And there you go. I enjoyed it. I think that the bigger the screen you see it on, and even in 3D, which I think Tom's going to rush out and see here this weekend, I'll tell you, that may even make a bigger difference. Maybe something you could really enjoy. So there's that. This is my name, says WTF. Well, I told you what I thought. Kay is in the house. Good to see you, Kay. Hello. Chud you poon. That's hello, everyone. Hello. Thanks for smashing the thumbs, everybody. That's a big win for us. The lovely Sherry is out there. Great to see you, dear. And the great Tom F. Yeah. Tom, you guessed right. It was me and the Jed Ravenwolf at this film. Good time. I thought the movie was very enjoyable. You know what? Toru Oikawa says, I thought the movie was very enjoyable. Indeed, it was very enjoyable. Like I said, I had to wait till the credits to run sprinting to the bathroom so that I could make it back for the last credit scene, which is well worth it. You want to stick to it. The last credit scene or the end credit scene itself is properly after the credits run. Don't go anywhere. Argentum. The reactions I'm seeing for this are wildly either positive or negative. I'm not wildly positive, but I'm positive. I think it was a good movie. I think, believe it or not, you won't waste your time or your money because this thing sits just a little over 2 hours, credits and all. In fact, it would be, if they hadn't inserted the two credit scenes, it probably would have fixed right at 2 hours. I really, like you said, very, very, very. Um, yeah, that's actually true. It's one of the things that was actually happening. You're like, wait a minute, I've seen this. Yeah, you did because you saw the all the early teasers, and that's what it was. It was a very clean movie, and it didn't suffer from a lot of language. Most kids in their, well, probably 10, 12, depending upon the maturity level of your kid, and up, probably wouldn't be too terribly worried about what was happening around them. The violence was kept at a comic book movie level. There wasn't a lot of curse words. There were a few errant fingers from our favorite Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, but hey, that was just in the conquering of some tanks. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Hey, it's ASCII. Hi all. Have I missed anything? Well, I was just talking about the movie. Of course, that was 7 minutes after we started, so you didn't miss too much at that point. Yeah, Ryan Conway, what's up, my friend? Hi, I was sorting out a few mixes here, but I'm watching. Well, thank you, my friend. We've got Wastme 555. I heard Variety magazine misquoted that what Gunn said just to stir things up. They did, and that's why you got, "Is this the gayest Superman ever?" Yeah, I now have such disdain for that man, just to stir up the stuff. And Max says, "My husband loved it too." See. No fear here. The great powerful Spirian is here. I don't want to watch this new Superman. There are older and better Superman movies I like, and I'll watch them. Hey, I understand, my friend, but all I'm going to say is, even if you somehow one day you don't feel allergic to this movie, you might find some enjoyment in it. I think, anyway. Yeah, and this is something that I think however he did it, rather artfully at that point, was cut to the chase. And if you think about it, think about the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Gunn did that when he presented that film, right? He kind of gave you this boy with a mother dying who passes away of cancer. He runs outside and poof, he's gone. Pretty wild. Let's see what else we got. Hey, what's going on, John? Good to see you. And this is something I never thought I would say because he never struck me as Superman. But his version of Superman, it can work in this world, in this universe, in this Superman timetable. MC, you are correct. They did nerf him. And that was the thing I was going to be the most worried about. And to be fair, if you think about the story, it gives him room to grow because his power level scales up. This could be a good time. And look, when it got down to the third act, he had plenty of power and a little more smarts. I've heard this too, David. I don't know that I agree, my friend. Um, I think that Love and Thunder is not a good comparison. Maybe, maybe the second Guardians. This had a serious enough tone, and I don't think that violence or anything was used to comedic effect more than maybe once. So hard to say. But okay, I said it just a few moments ago, and I'm sure you heard it because you were here. This was at 7:10. Nicholas Holt is, again, this may be the role that gives him that jump to stardom that he needs and deserves because he was good in this. John, you are correct. This is definitely the media doing a number on this movie for no reason. Yeah, and this is something that I just want people to do because this is like like the Batman. I know some people enjoyed that movie. I still think it took me almost 2 years to get through that movie in its entirety. If I didn't have streaming, I never would have gone back to watch it. Um, but yeah, this is a year three Superman is Superman. Follow the Bradley's Fun says, I didn't like it. Wow. Ron, you're usually a little more open minded than most, and somebody who has been a superhero in certain situations. I would say I'm surprised. Truly. What's with everyone crying in the film? Even the Snarky and many others brought that up along with Superman kicking beat down a ton. Um, well, he was fighting. Well, I'm not. That's a spoiler. I can't tell you. I can tell you that I didn't see a whole lot of crying. Uh, there is a character in here that's not pictured in a lot of places. That'll change shortly. That's going to be part of the Justice Gang, which is what they call themselves. Um, but only because that character trusted Superman, and Superman helped him with a near existential problem. And there were tears there. I don't know. I didn't really notice that, to be fair. And I watched the movie pretty clearly. I didn't think there was a whole lot of crying in it. Too cartoony. So you're not going to like more comic book true um, representations of superheroes. That may spell doom for you in the DC universe, I'm afraid, because I don't think we're going to get away from the aesthetic, the setup, and what they're trying to show is like a panel to panel kind of situation. There are multiple shots in there that looked exactly like comic book panels. Not just because we want to get this nice wide shot because it's cinematic, but because that's actually what you would see in a comic book panel. Yeah, this is the other thing, MC. I think you're right. I think the low projection on the opening, that's an issue. Um, Captain America could be another $400 million movie. That'd be tragic. It'd be rough, to be fair, for Warner Brothers to proceed down this path. Um, Outside of obviously Supergirl, they could. They just have to spend less money. And that, you know what, that conversation's the same whether or not it's a superhero film or a dinosaur movie. You got to spend less money. You can't spend that kind of money. Jose, I'm usually pretty strong on these films, and I didn't actually see that a lot. And again, he's not quite at full power level, so I think you're right, MC. I think that's actually probably the takeaway that I have right now. Um, the movie's going to need good word of mouth. I agree with you. Asthmatic comes in here and says super clown. Well, for some people, look, I'm not here to yuck your yum. I'm not here to shape your opinion. If this isn't going to be your, cup of tea, that's great. There are a lot of films I'm criticized for loving that are complete trash. For example, one of those being Showgirls, greatest movie ever made, of course. But yeah. Oh, this is Barry on, my friend. This is the This is the breath of fresh air we needed. The cynicism, however you want to describe it, but that kind of a world and the deconstruction of the superhero, that was not what this was. It's been a long time coming. Hey, Tender Warriors here. Greetings, my friend. Happy thrilling Thursday indeed. And look, I know a lot of people will easily be turned off by the dog initially, but that you're gonna love that dog by the end of the movie. I'm just saying. Are the villains good? Well, yeah. Um, the makeup of the villains, and then at a root level, you understand, and then of course you have the people that were villains that became good guys, and they were situational bad guys, let's say. And Jimmy Olsen is treated very differently here in a very fun way. So there's that. Oh, Mr. Terrific was very good. That actor really delivered in that character. Griffin, good to see you, buddy. Eric K drops a $2 super duper chat and says, "Did Hawk Girl have, wow, hair? She had hair." The actress is playing her you've seen before. I think she might have also. Maybe she was she in that the Spider Girl film? What was it? Madam Web? Was she in that? Maybe she was. She filled out her costume. I don't remember the hair. There's a lot of reasons about that. Anyway. Ba-ba-da-ba. I'm a loco. That's probably true. But I don't know. It's really easy for me to point at all the holes, and all of the bad paint jobs and the terrible costumes and everything. And I just didn't find myself doing that so much. I'm still not thrilled with the Superman costume. I'm not. I think Corn Sweat with another, 2 years worth of weightlifting will be great for a follow up. I think the guy that plays Mr. Terrific is great. Nathan Fillion, man, I don't know, just amazing as Guy Gardner. The other people you'll be introduced to, other than obviously Hawk Girl. Did I say Hot Girl? I think you're going to enjoy. How's that? So I've heard this a lot from my friends, obviously, Ryan with Geeks and Gamers and a few other folks that are in the G&G crew. But this is one of the first films I've seen with this kind of split in a long time. And what's great is everybody can defend their answers. And I think it comes, I mean, the first Superman movie I saw was the Donner Classic in the 70s. And I was seeing it in the theater as a young person. It was brilliant. It was one of the first videotapes that we purchased. So there was a lot there. And this film had some of that heart. It didn't have all of that heart, but it had some of that heart. And like I said, we haven't had that in a long time, at least not in my opinion. Of course, your mileage will vary. No, I get it. And you know what? That actually came into play. First of all, the little monkey guys that were the trolls, that scene doesn't last very long, and it's there. Everything you've seen, all of it, it's true, all of it. Just not the way you've seen it in that context. Also, a lot of the stuff that you think is going to be part of a bigger conversation just isn't. It's a throwaway line at best. It's this movie is purely about Lex Luthor being jealous. That's what it is at its heart. Dean Cain, I think, reacted in part to the trades more than he did any of the actual things. I think he was rather surprised that Chris Gore gave it such high marks. I don't know. This is going to be one of those weird ones, but there wasn't any of the political nonsense in there that the press wanted desperately for there to be. Yeah, and again, not going for the comedy. I get that because believe it or not, there's a lot of very serious, thoughtful moments in here, and that conversation, quote unquote, interview between Lois and Superman slash Clark, we only got a smidgen of, and what context it was in. Again, if you're letting the poor marketing and the trades hold you back, I don't know. No, it doesn't sound good if people compare it to Love and Thunder, but I didn't see that there. There was none of that. Um, what was her name? Jane. Yeah, Lois isn't super powered, and there's a lot of like inconvenient stuff there. There's a lot of amazing there. I have to tell you, you're going to enjoy watching Mister Terrific. I think we're burned out by comic book movies. I think, yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. Could they take a pause and I'd be okay with it? Yeah, bring back some westerns. Do something fun. Give me the Cat on Witch Mountain or Escape from Witch Mountain or something like that. Give me something like kooky, weird, new. And don't make it bean mouth Elio, and you probably do better. Black Bleach. It was political. Where? What? How? In as much as we live in a nation, in as much that people live in nations, in as much as there's been a war brewing somewhere in this planet since we began, at least one. Um, you see a lot of that. Hey, Andy, how you doing, buddy? Well, this I will never argue with. I think Gunn is a great mind. He's good at organizing things. It's what makes him a director that has been doing good stuff. Having somebody else write it, I that could happen if he had the outline for the story and maybe a treatment, and somebody else put pen to paper to put it together. I don't know that it would have been substantially different. I mean, the story elements, story points were going to be, well, if it was Gunn's film, going to be the same. But I'm not adverse to having another writer write things. In fact, I'm looking forward to the things that Gunn doesn't write for the new DC studios. So there's that. He did make a pretty bold choice with the mythos. I will grant you that for sure. I think it was way too, well, that's spoilers. Talk to me tomorrow about some of the things that I think he misstepped on, but there wasn't many compared to, I'm sorry. I watched a 2-hour therapy session with Thunderbolts, and I had people coming at me telling me, oh, it's a good movie. I don't have to go to my therapist this week. Look, I don't have anything wrong with therapy. It's just, escapism is not therapy for me. Escapism is a film, a good one. It gets me miles away from here. And that's another reason why I thought it was a good choice to make a made up set of countries where there was, political weirdness going on. And to me, there's always a war going on somewhere. See? And you know what, John G? I'm with you. 7 out of 10. Good rating. And some people are just grading on a curve. That's the other problem. Because I saw Jurassic World Afterbirth, and that movie was terrible. If you're saying that this movie is garbage, I would hate to see. Would you rate Jurassic World a 1? Oh, man, wild stuff. Haywood, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. For some reason, I could not get Rumble to start. I don't know why. I had to kill it. We're going to have it over there as well. But it's good to see everybody here and on X. Hi, folks. Good to see you. Review for $2. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you. And appreciate that extra little spend, my friend. I think you gave me a nice super sticker. Super duper sticker. Yeah, John Williams is great and the GOAT. And likely one of the reasons why I had the feels for the film at certain parts that weren't probably necessary. I think it was just the music was good, as usual. Haywood! Joblamy says, have a gifty. Somebody else gets that. Oh, we had a great time. Okay, it was a lot of fun. Jed and I kind of commented back and forth early on in the film. We were very nervous. I think that first 5 minutes was like, but again, you settle into that world. And again, it is a world, which is, I think, why Ron's having trouble with it. You settle into that version of a Superman story, a different construct around what it has been done before. The bold story choices, as somebody said a moment ago. Hold my DualShock. How's it going, everybody? I think it's going well, and welcome. I love the avatars. Just breaking down a little bit of the review for Superman film, which is okay. And a lot of people have seen this in 4D. I know at least 2 people now. I'm going to be talking to them as well. But I think a bigger thing is going to be the larger format. The larger format, you see this on probably the best it is. Usually pay a premium for those tickets. It's a little bit more than IMAX in some cases, and well worth it though. It's worth the roller coaster ride on some movies. This one might work. There's probably 5 or 6 really good scenes for 4DX. Neil Fendel's out there. Hello. Well, I watched a different long-awaited show today. Ballard. Oh, I've heard much about that. That's the spinoff for Bosch, which you say in the next sentence. Okay. It was okay, but nowhere near as sparkling a dialogue as prior incarnations and a few too many plot twists. Well, they have to make it interesting. I mean, you have I think the character leads female in that one. I'm not saying anything, ladies. Don't get mad at me. Don't cancel me. Go check out my channel, Campione Reacts, and you'll see, the ladies usually agree with me. All 3 of them sometimes. Get in a lot of trouble. Haywood, how you doing, buddy? Says, don't forget to hit the like button and cheers, CC. Well, thank you, Mr. Joblamy. I appreciate your $2 Canadian super duper chat. Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing opinions all over the place. My friends are wildly different. In fact, I'm going to go talk with them in about, 10, 11 minutes from now. I'll be over in Comics Division. Please follow me over there. Let me see if the show's set up. If the show's set up, I can automatically redirect you over there. But my review is probably going to do almost everything and maybe even go up to an 8. 7.5 is no slouch. A B, pretty good score. B plus is on the horizon, quite possibly. Again, I'm going to wake up. This is the other problem with me. I settle into a score usually 2 or 3 days after seeing something. Sometimes if I see it more than once. And I mean, the last thing I want to do is set in stone something that's not accurate or representative of what I feel about a given film. I know a lot of people do that. A lot of people rush to conclusions. They jump to conclusions. There's what I was trying to say. A lot of people jump early and stick with something out of pure stubbornness when after they've thought about it, they're going to make concessions in areas because maybe it wasn't quite this, that, or the other. And you know what? That's good. Revisiting an opinion. It's not forbidden, folks. You can do that. All right, let's get Comics Division put into this little machine. And there it is. I think we're going to be talking about this one for at least the first hour of the show. Many of us have seen the film as of now, and the Automagic redirect is set in place. A lot of people have been disappointed. I get it. I thought it was much better than you could imagine, which I could imagine some really bad, dark things. Hey, Sergeant Garatina is here. Great to see you, my friend. Somebody else sent me a thing. Hey, Dick Dickstein is here. He's a mercenary that destroys these movies. I kind of support it. Haha. Well, we've got some good mercenaries out there. Good robot voice, CC. Well, thank you. I don't know if I'm doing that on purpose. Maybe I am. I wouldn't know. William Schweiker just arrived. Hello, Culture. Good to see you. Why does it look like they filmed this and F4 in a Walmart? I didn't quite have that experience, but, pretty decent digital screen. So, not bad. Tina, good evening. Y'all can donate your ticket money to a more worthy cause. The Tina's Fund for my 2027 cruise back to Alaska. Yeah, she wants to do a cruise. You know what? I don't blame you, Tina. Alaska's beautiful. Man, you and I have both been to Alaska like in the last year or two. Year and a half, I think. Snakes and funerals. Why did they race swap crypto? I wasn't aware. And again, this is a new universe for Superman. I don't remember crypto being all that different, but all right. It was still pretty cool. Really enjoyed that. JK says, I just got out and I enjoyed it. You know what? You are in good company here. I had fun. I don't get to have fun at movies anymore, guys. This is one of the few that I've been able to do. He does tug at the heartstrings. That's definitely something he does really well. What I hated, Guardians 3, I really hated the animal cruelty stuff. So, but you're speaking correctly, for sure. Yeah, somebody was a little aggressive with the music video cuts for sure. A little frenetic at certain points in that. I think at some points you had to be, but there's a lot of choppiness. Still, you'll have to agree, Mr. Terrific was terrific in the second act. I got the 5-minute warning. I just want to say thank you to Archer Merchant. Thank you so very much, my friend, saying, glad you got to see it without spoiling it. Had mixed feelings about the Supergirl cameo. Me too. I get the humor, but it felt wasted and late in the game. I think it was just to introduce her there so that you knew what you were headed to next and kind of a breakdown of what character you're going to get. So this is choice 2 for Supergirl, not choice 1. And I'm not talking about the actress, Miss Millie Alcock. I'm talking about the two different versions of Supergirl there are. So you are going to get Party Girl, Supergirl, apparently. So funny. All right. You're going to go see it at 10 a.m. in IMAX tomorrow. So don't want to act like I'm down the film too much. Oh, David, I think you'll probably enjoy it. I hope you do. In fact, if you want, come back to the stream later. I don't think I'm even going to bother converting this to a video. I think I'll just leave it as a stream. But do check it out and then drop me a comment in the comments section down below. tomorrow when you get a chance to have a minute to do that. That'd be great. You know, the movie's decent and nobody talking about sports. I'm going out of my way not to talk spoilers. There are lots of things you deserve to discover for yourself in this one. There you go. Oh, the Justice Gang shouldn't have been there. I don't know. They work actually in this film. I was amazed they were tying four different storylines, simultaneous storylines together very well. Very well. That's something Gunn can do. Sorry, great project manager as a director, project manager director. So there's that. Do you think that the media did what they did because Superman will compete with? It's not going to compete. It's going to smoke Fantastic Four. Here's the weird thing. This is something that Jed noticed when we were there. We could not find in the theater we were in a Superman poster. Not at all. We didn't even find a standee, which I thought would have been the norm. Instead, we found four Fantastic Four posters. Why? I don't know. Man, you guys are cooking today. I got two amazing super chats. Please let me get those. I have to step out. We got to get going over to Comics Division. Please follow over there. I would truly appreciate it. We are going to have hundreds of people talking, or in the chat talking about this film. I'm sure. I'd watch the cat on Witch Mountain. There you go. See, I'm weird. Come up with odd ideas. Jeremiah Hembry from 5 Culture Casino Cash says, I take it you did not hate no, I did not hate the film, my friend. Did y'all listen? Of course you did. I would just want to say thank you for this, Jeremiah. And I thought it was a pretty okay movie. I mean, it's something good. Hey, Kalikio Ketty's in the house. Oh, wow. DJ Ronnie G. Archer drops another $2. Says Thunderbolt showed the 2-hour power of group hugs. The power of one, hug. The power of two, hugs. The power of many hugs. There's that. Kiss my grits. KMG, it's been a minute. I hope everything's going well, my friend. Thank you for the $20 super duper chat. Much appreciated. Hey, Culture, two things. I was the interview scene between Lois and Clark worth its length, or it probably could have been trimmed, but it conveyed an awful lot. And it kind of served, not in a, girl boss power move way to try to, get Clark to think more carefully about how he answers questions as Superman. And also at the same time, maybe act better. I mean, I could see somebody saying it was longer. It could have been edited a little bit more cleanly, but overall, it wasn't the scene that it was presented as in the teaser clips. 2, I haven't seen it, but the story sounds similar to Batman v Superman, i.e. cancel culture towards Superman. Believe it or not, while that plot piece did play a very short role in this movie in the second act, it really didn't. It really didn't hit anywhere. And especially when you see what's happening and why Lex is being the giant douche that he is. And I know I've got a couple more super chats, folks. If I miss anything, please let me know. Snowdub in the house. It's time for your Cotton Council appearance next week. Sounds good. Sounds good, brother. I will see you. Hang out with the brothers of the Cotton. What else we got? Oh, our good friend Daniel for 20. It's been a minute, my friend. Great to see you. This approaches Godzilla -1 for me. See? As one of the few recent movies I really enjoyed that told a great story. One or two minor points. I'm sure that everybody has or is going to have those with this because it's not quite your Superman. But overall, hit it out of the park. A lot of people seem to be invested in negativity. Well, the press is. Everybody here seems to be, trying to keep an open mind. And this is one of those movies I would say, go see it and then tell me what you think. Because I think that we've all been relying too heavily on some really bad narratives by people who just have some really bad ideas. Carlos Alfredo Lopez, good to see you, my friend. Got a few other folks. Born in Boston. Make Supergirl roommates with Buffy. Oh my gosh, that would be beautiful. He could bring back his buddy Joss Whedon, right? Who else is out there? You got a few more folks. I really gotta get us over there. So on that note, immediately starting now is Comics Division. Thursday Night Throwdown. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to say this one more time to each and every one of you. I thank you for your time and attention and for checking out this live review. Maybe I'll do more of these. I like talking to you. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! For real.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me.